Kendall came around with a stick and she was like, I have a trident. And it was this stick that looked like a trident. And she was off like zapping things with her trident. And Sadie had a torch and she was hitting it against a rock. And I watched their imagination just, there it is.
Yeah, cool.
And Sadie had grabbed the leaf blower. Like we have a Ryobi leaf blower, not a sponsor. It's not a great leaf blower.
I wouldn't accept that.
Hey, don't hate on the Ryobi. But she grabbed it with her hand and she started leaf blowing the patio. She did it for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
And I didn't even ask her.
All right, everybody, before we dive into today's episode, we have some exciting news to share.
That's right. The Casting Faith podcast has officially partnered with
First Form,
your go-to for the best energy drinks, greens, protein bars, beef sticks, and much more to fuel your fitness and wellness journey.
Whether you're hitting the gym or heading out on the water or just trying to feel better every day, First Form has you covered. It doesn't matter if you're keto, if you're vegan, whatever diet you're on, they have you covered. Think premium protein products, top-tier vitamins, and even these delicious energy drinks that fuel this podcast.
Here's the best part. When you shop through the link in our bio, you're not just investing in your health, you're helping the Casting Faith podcast and supporting us to bring you more content.
So go ahead and check it out. Grab what you need because they have you covered, and let's tackle this faith, fitness, wellness journey. Whatever you're on, this is the stuff that will fuel you. And let's dive into today's episode.
I challenge you as a believer, let that power get out.
Blind people received their sight. People have been carried in. We're healed. Nobody touched them. Nobody laid a hand on them. We just praised the Lord and spoke the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Here's a fish.
Yeah, let's go! Oh my gosh, he's a big. He landed his.
He kept me from Scott. Look how massive this is.
The Casting Faith podcast.
Fish on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Casting Faith podcast. And we have great news.
Great news.
Spring is here. Oh,
Well, actually, it's going to be below 30 next week.
Hey, you don't say that. It's going to be 60s and 70s
Just
next week.
so you know, we record in Ohio. So Ohio goes through a season where
I don't receive this.
it is 75 degrees one day, and then the next day it's 25 degrees. And then that goes until about May.
All I'm saying is I grilled out the other day.
Nice.
And we had burgers and hot dogs, and it was 70 degrees.
Nice, dude.
And I saw a bumblebee. And you know what that means?
It was a real bee.
It's a real, not a drone. It was real. And that means, to me, why would he be flying around if it was going to, polar
he's
vortex next
also
week?
new to Ohio because he was just born.
I don't know. And the only thing that gives me a little fright is that there's no dandelions right now.
Yeah, I've seen snow and dandelions together, so
Yeah, but it's not
until we're in June. I don't
Here's
really
the deal.
have much hope.
So it was my birthday.
Yeah,
and
happy birthday!
Yeah, it was my birthday, and normally on my birthday we're in like sleet and ice and snow. Like we'll go out to eat or something, and it'll be like another winter storm, and it's like this false spring, and then you get slammed with snow, which is kind of what you're talking about. But I don't feel that this year. I think our winter was so bad that
it was pretty tough.
I don't remember the last birthday where it was 60, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So two things that could mean. It could either mean that winter's over, or spring is early, and we're gonna have a really hot August.
I'm all right with that at this point.
Until
August, I'm all right with that.
So I don't know, but it was nice to grill out, have hamburgers and hot dogs.
It's crazy.
In March,
I don't have a grill.
Really?
Yeah.
You just microwave your
I'm
hot
sure
dogs?
as soon as my wife hears this, she's gonna say, "Honey, can we get a grill?"
Yeah. What would you get if you wanted one?
I don't know how to cook, so
you don't know how to grill.
I can like throw something on a hot thing, but as Brother John Miller stated in his episode, I can catch fire to an electric stove. So
Do you, I don't know. It just doesn't, that was like one of the first things that I got excited about was grilling out.
oh yeah.
So like when you have to cut your grass, do you have a tractor or do you push mow?
I have 2 acres, so I do not push mow.
I was gonna say, do you pay somebody or
I do pay somebody
because I get excited
I pay my 11-year-old.
Here's how I know I'm an adult. I get excited about cutting grass and grilling out.
Yeah. Sometimes I enjoy cutting the grass, but our yard is so well. We built on this property, and this property used to be an apple orchard for as long as you can go back in the history on satellite images. It was like the early 1900s, and it was still an apple orchard. So this area is really rough, the ground, as far as like smoothness, and we haven't filled it or nothing. So it's rough, and I would enjoy it if it was a smooth cut, but now I just let my son cut it for $5-10.
Man, that's a steal. I'd do the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
Until he messes up your tractor or something.
Oh, he has, and it happens, but we just fix. I'm a mechanic, so
Yeah,
just fix it.
It must be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, spring, man. Spring. If it's not here, it's very close, and so that's exciting. Which
It is
means
close. We're recording on March 15th, so it's close.
Which means,
Actually, this comes out this Friday, so
yeah. Which means though,
what?
Fishing.
Yeah, Steelhead are in. Steelhead are back in. The spring run has started.
If we would have had some episodes in the bank,
Yeah.
I would have been like, "Let's go this morning." But it's a thunder lightning storm.
Thunderstorms.
It's like Texas lightning. Texas lightning. It's like thunderstorm. The girls got up at 7:00, ran into our room, like not scared, but like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, it's March. Why is it?
they were upset about the thunder. And I'm like, we did a youth rally last night in Barberton, and so I got home late, too, not super late, but late enough.
Yeah.
And I'm already like, my normal day starts at 5 a.m. So I'm like still catching up from the time change, which is crazy that we're still doing that.
It is crazy because it's just one night that you lose an hour.
Yeah, I would.
People always say like, you lose an hour of sleep this whole year, and like it's literally just one night.
But it's like this is the first time in my life I felt that hour.
Oh, I actually forgot it was time change that night.
Yeah,
and I woke up and it was still dark, and I was getting ready for church. And
that's
funny. So confused.
I was. Yeah, we had a rough night. My daughter got sick the night of.
Oh man!
And she ran into the room at like 3 a.m, which was really 4 a.m. And I had to go sleep. I didn't have to, but I went and slept on the couch so she could sleep in my spot and feel comforted. And then we went to church, and we had a guest evangelist, and it was amazing. And man, miracle signs and wonders, and it was a high energy service, and I was so toast. And I never recovered, man.
Yeah.
And so I woke up this morning, again, thunderstorm. I was like, man, I'm tired. But I did want to go steelhead fishing. I was like, we could do that. But of course we can't.
I think I got one trip, maybe 2 trips left in me for this spring.
Yeah.
And I just want to get my son on a steelhead. So
yeah,
I'm going to take him to the secret spot.
Our youth series lesson right now is the mission is fishing. And Brother Christian had asked the youth, like, how many love fishing? A couple of them raised their hand. And he's like, okay, how many's ever had a bad experience fishing? And Trenton raised his hand. I'm like, no, we got to get him back.
Did he explain?
No, he didn't have it was just that kind of hands up moment. And I'm like, oh, man. I'm like,
well, I mean,
we got to get him on something.
So it was steelhead that did him in because he went, he loved it. He loved like being able to get in the water with his waders, and it was a cool experience, but being out there and not catching anything just frustrates him. And then every time we've gone bass fishing, like it's just been tough because we just go from the bank when we're together. And so,
but that's all about the change.
It is. I bought a bass boat. The answer is I bought it.
He bought it. So I'm super pumped. Like social media is one thing, but I'm really excited because we kind of talked about this when Justin was on. We had like for me personally, we went from being landlocked our whole life to this $200 kayak that changed everything, you know?
Yeah.
And the kayak put us on the water, and we went from like majority of times having those bad experiences of getting skunked to now we can
most of the time
I'm not getting skunked. In fact, I'll switch it up and catch something before I get skunked.
All right, so the way I see it now, like, so you went from landlocked, you might be able to cover like an acre of water a day on land. Then you went to kayaks, and you might be able to cover 10 acres in a day. You know, because I'd say like 2 miles from where you launch is probably too
That's
far.
tough, yeah. No, you lock in on, you find the spots, and you lock in on 3 or 4 spots.
So now we're open to 5,000 acres, 10,000 acres of water.
I was thinking about that last night, and I was like, I have the same feeling that it's not even my boat, but I'm like, I'm coming with him. But I'm like, this is like okay, now it's not just the kayak getting on the water, but the bodies of water we fish are different.
Yeah.
The places we go can be different. Yeah. The amount of water that we cover is going to be different. So
what I'm excited for is learning how to fish the open water right. Because I've always wanted to on the kayaks, but I never had the right equipment. I always just had the old fashioned chirp sonar, not even down scan, or not even down imaging, just down scan, like a depth finder and with a chirp. And it's really hard to like understand what's going on under the water. So now we've got side imaging, down scan, down imaging. We got forward facing sonar. And now we're going to be able to actually like find those brush piles, the rocks, and like
that's awesome.
Hang out on those and fish those in deep water, you know, where the big bass probably are, you know?
Well, yeah. And
so it's going to be fun to learn that.
And it made me think too, like about, I don't know why I was just like, no, like, like the coolest thing for me is if we built this podcast so big that, one day we could just hand it to Trenton and somebody else. You know what I mean?
Trenton and Sadie.
Yeah, it'd be sweet to be like, here you go, you know, but it's like if he hates fishing, that's not gonna work. So, but it's cool that you're getting a boat because all he's known is like hard work, steelhead fishing and bobber bank fishing. Yeah, and now he's gonna be on this boat where most of the time it's gonna be successful.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I hope that maybe like one day he likes fishing a lot, like so much so that it's more than me. Yeah. And then like he grows up like fishing tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
It's cool like to think that way. It's cool. Kendall was asking, she's ready to get on the water. Like not a boat, but we passed like the marina and she was like, when are we going to get a boat? When are we going to go out on the water? They're like ready. Yeah. Like, Sadie not as much, but Kendall is like, I want steelhead. I want this fish. Let's go catch a fish so we can eat it for dinner. Like, yeah. And man, it's cool. And I was listening to something. I can't remember what podcast it was, but it was talking. The host was talking about how, as parents, we have just our presence and what we do in front of our kids matters so much. Mm-hmm. And I think they were talking about screen time and stuff, but it was like, they're being very intentional about putting their phones down as soon as they get in the home, like putting it on the kitchen counter and leaving it, because you're modeling to your kid what's right and what's acceptable. And if all we're doing is this when we're with them, that's all they want to do because they're just going to model that behavior. Yep. And he said he recently started, you know, normally he read his Bible on his app, and instead he sat down on the couch and just read the Bible quietly. And he said, without ever pushing it on their kids, without ever doing anything, he got so many questions from them. Oh, what are you reading, Dad? Is that the Bible? What story are you reading? Cool. And they were immediately interested. And all he did was sit on the couch and open the Bible. Yeah, that's neat. And it's like, I never have told Kendall or Sadie, like, you're going to be a fisherwoman, you know, you're going to do this. You're going to grow up the way that I grew up. Or a hunterman. Let us know if you're interested in a hunterman t-shirt. But, no, I've never really pushed it on them, but because Dad does it, they want to do it. Mm-hmm. And man, that's a big.
Trenton's at the age where he's like kind of getting more independent. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of see like where the teen years are going to head. Yeah. And it's going to be tough.
Well, so like that's the point, man, is like model what you want. I'm blanking on the quotes, but there's a book that
There is a book.
There's a book out there that I read that one time that said, don't ever let your kids do something that would make you resent them. Because if you resent them and you love them unconditionally, people are going to treat them worse. You know, they're not going to be around people much. And so I think modeling that behavior, you know, is a big step. And we did it the other day because we got the girls fire tablets for Christmas, and we didn't start with, I don't know why, like, cause I know better. We didn't start with screen time. Like, you know, how you can limit stuff and everything like that. Obviously the content was limited, but the time that they're allowed on it wasn't. And immediately, like within a week or two, they were getting up earlier and going out into the living room, grabbing their tablet, and I'd wake up and I wouldn't hear anything, and I would go and look, and they're sitting on the couch playing their game. And so I put screen limits on it, and I explained it to them like, hey, you know how that one time you ate so much candy you threw up? Like, candy is delicious. We all love candy. It tastes great. But if you have too much of it, it makes you sick, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so screen times, daddy loves video games. Daddy loves screens. Daddy's behind the screen right now. Daddy does this too, but daddy notices whenever he's on this too much, his mind gets sick. His brain gets sick, and he doesn't think right. And they understood that.
Wow.
And so, and they're like, you know, 5 and 7 years old. It's not like, they will understand. If they understand what they're doing immediately when they grab this, it's because they learned that from you.
Yeah.
And if you can explain to them, hey, this is fine, but if you do too much of this, it could make you sick. And so the other day we just went out, that nice day where I grilled out, we went out to the yard. I tilled some of the garden.
Wow.
Our 2020 garden.
Getting
And they were picking, bro, they were.
Your neighbor's like, wow, it's not that spring.
Oh, I was ready. Well, because I got.
He's out there grilling and tilling his garden. It's April.
Tilling the garden.
Not even April yet.
No, dude. Because if I don't do it now, I'm not gonna. Because I fell into it. The time thing had me so bad that we got home. The girls had their 1 hour of tablet time after school.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep on the couch for like 15 minutes, and I have a struggle to fall. Like, I struggle to fall asleep anywhere. And I was out for 15 minutes, and I woke up and I was like, I can't just lounge right now. Let's go outside. And we all went outside, and we have one big tree in our backyard, and it is dropping branches left and right. Every season, it's like a whole tree falls out of that tree. And so we went around our acre and started picking up the sticks, and they immediately, it was like I watched healing take place. They didn't have a tablet in their hand, and Kendall came around with a stick, and she was like, I have a trident. And it was this stick that looked like a trident, and she was off like zapping things with her trident, and Sadie had a torch, and she was hitting it against a rock, and I watched their imagination just there it is.
Yeah, cool.
And Sadie had grabbed the leaf blower. Like, we have a Ryobi leaf blower, not a sponsor. It's not a great leaf blower.
I wouldn't accept that.
Hey, don't hate on the Ryobi. But she grabbed it with her hand, and she started leaf blowing the patio. She did it for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
And I didn't even ask her. So just being out and doing things. Then they got on the trampoline, and it was just a fun night.
Yeah,
and it felt like summer, not spring.
Yeah.
But it was just exciting. And man, if you just model the behavior, they'll follow what you're doing. I don't even think that's age specific, you know?
Probably the same time that you're grilling out thinking that it was spring. So we go walking as a family up at the dam end of West Branch. And so we park there, and it's like a 2.5 mile walk or something like that, a loop, something like that, 2.5 or whatever. And so it feels nice. It's hot, and it's like you're in the sun. It's like, man, it's burning.
Yeah.
Like, so we get up there, and then you get out onto the open water where the wind's blowing, and the lake's still covered in ice.
Oh, that's cool.
It's still hard water.
Yeah.
And that wind is picking up all that cool.
Yeah.
And it was
nice.
Freezing. It wasn't even not. It was freezing.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Man.
We were like,
That's
mistake.
Too soon.
Our nose starts dripping. Like, oh.
Too soon.
Then as soon as we got behind the trees, it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's that open area is over a mile wide on West Branch. So
yeah, we man, I think it's just, we usually do family walks in our neighborhood too.
Mm-hmm.
We have like a stop sign point where we stop and turn around, but they got bikes, and it was so sad, man. And any parent that's listening understands what I'm about to say, but my youngest just turned 5. We still have training wheels on the bikes and stuff, but she got on her, usually we're doing scooters and I'm dragging her through the walk. Dude, she was doing circles on the bike flawlessly. And I'm like, oh, like they're growing up so quick, you know? It made me so emotional. Like, oh man, like this is happening fast. And so I want to be intentional with that time, you know? Like, I don't want it to be stuck. We talked about it too before. I love video games and all the other things. And I want them to experience the fun of that and the social part of that with their friends. But also, man, I don't want to miss out on these small moments of spring and what all these seasons mean to us as a family. But man, it's exciting. It's exciting that this summer, I feel really good about this summer and this spring, this new season.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm pumped. I'm really excited.
So you bought the boat.
I did. And I'm now like slowly getting the upgrades that I want. Yeah.
So not only do we get open water, right?
Yeah.
And not only do we have the mobility and the speed behind the boat, but Sean bought a toy to go with the boat that we talked about on social media a little bit.
Forward-facing sonar.
Yeah. So
it's not the full. So I'm a Lowrance guy. Sorry for all of you Garmin and whatever else is out there, but Lowrance is where it's at. So it's active target, not live scope. And so Lowrance just came out with a very cheap version of a limited forward-facing sonar. It's the Eagle Eye 9. And so the range is not like the full live scope. You've got over, I think it, let's see, like 180 degrees. 180 is like straight out, right? So both ways. Yeah. So anyways, it's not the full. Like
math is hard.
Man, I can't even get right out my sentence. So usually with forward-facing sonar, it would cover the whole screen like this, right? So you go this way and this way. But with the Eagle Eye 9, it's just a smaller cone. So it's not like the best option for forward-facing sonar, but it is forward-facing sonar. It functions as forward-facing. It shows everything that forward-facing sonar shows because it is forward-facing sonar. It just has a smaller window. So it's a great starter option for forward-facing sonar if you don't want to buy a black box and spend $3,000 on forward-facing sonar. It's only $1,000. So yeah, we got that, and upgrading the console graphs to a Elite FS 10. So side scan and the 3-in-1 transducer on that. And then we're working I still have to upgrade the trolling motor. Me and my wife we're waiting just a little bit.
I got an old Minn Kota if you want it.
No, no, I definitely do not want it.
I got it at the flea market for $20.
So the boat comes with a Minn Kota Maxim 70-pound thrust in a 24-volt system.
You know what I'm going to do?
But we've got to upgrade. No, we don't have to. I really, really want to upgrade to the Tarova that has spot locks.
Spot locks, yeah.
So
that was the one thing.
That's coming. It just not yet.
That was the one thing that frustrated me when we went out in Mogador with their little John boats.
Yeah.
Is like we had to have 2 people to operate this, you know, because it was impossible to stay in your spot and fish at the same time. I'm like, if I'm in my kayak,
it won't be impossible.
I'm here
with my boat, like, because it's got the foot controlled deal on the front. It's just not spot lock, so you just manually control it with your foot, and so it'll work fine.
Yeah, I just remember
I have a goal of getting it before halfway through the summer.
Okay,
so we just got to pay cash.
So where are we fishing first?
Probably West Range.
Yeah. Muskie.
I mean, if it accidentally happens, I'm not going to go rig up for muskie.
No, that's one of the fish. I think one of my students, I'm a teacher, if no one knew that. One of my students asked, what's your dream fish? What would you, or he was like, have you ever heard of a sturgeon? And I'm like, yeah, buddy. And he was talking, I was like, that they're like living dinosaurs, they've been around a long time. That's a dream fish for me. One of those is to catch one of those. And the immediate question, and it's funny, I don't know if he's listening to this because he's older or if he just knows from what we were talking about, just exposure and being around me. He goes, would you eat it? And I was like, I don't think I would.
I think it's illegal.
I don't know if that's true.
I think it's endangered right now.
Is it? I would never, but that's one of the fish I probably would never do. Like, even if it was delicious, I wouldn't do it because it's like, that's like a special prize,
Yeah.
I don't feel that.
That's how musky are.
Yeah. And I think that's the same way with that. Probably wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't eat a musk. Plus, I know their bones are like, it's a hassle to get through. Even just pike. Like, I've eaten pike before and it's good. Like, they're good to eat. Mm-hmm. It's just such a process to process the fish. And you get, even if you're really good at it, the amount of meat is not worth the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm wasting the fish.
I'm not that into fish to even really care. So, and I mean, we still got like 3 or 4 steelhead in the freezer.
Listen, we did a walnut, I think it was walnut. No, almond crust, some kind of crusted steelhead. Dude, it was so good. Hillary is turned in to this like phenomenal. She's always been a good cook, but we've been eating a lot of fish, and I already know, be careful for the mercury point. Like, freshwater fish, you're not supposed to eat a lot of it, and we don't. It's not every meal, so we talk about it a lot, but it's not every meal.
Yeah,
but she's gotten really good at turning the food that I bring home from like fishing into really good meals that my kids enjoy and the whole family enjoys. And that's exciting. So I'm sure she could make something great out of these things, but it's just nice to have the option.
Yeah. So we're going to probably fish West Branch a lot.
Yeah.
West Branch, Berlin, probably Portage Lakes a little bit. Which come close to you.
That would be so nice.
And then
not to have to drive a half hour to go fishing.
Mosquito Lake.
So we could go to Nimisila. Now it is only like a lot of these things is electric only.
Yeah, I want to stay out of those as much as I can.
So we could do Portage Lakes.
Mogador I'll do probably one time because it's a hassle to. So the way you load and unload a boat is with your engine, right? So I mean, you don't have to. You can use ropes. And that's what my father-in-law always did on Lake Erie was use ropes. He was always against the engine loading and unloading. But I got a bass boat, so it's a lot different.
Yeah.
He had a deep V boat for Lake Erie. So we probably will fish the bay areas on Lake Erie for steelhead.
That's fun, man.
This spring.
That's
this
exciting.
Fall. Maybe.
But the season, okay, educate me. Also, I was educated last episode, but educate me some more.
Turkeys.
Educate me some more. So the season for steelhead, it's not spot specific, it's time specific, correct?
It is date specific.
Okay. So we can't just go on the lake and catch 6.
No.
Unless it's during the summer.
There is a specific date, and I'm probably not going to be able to find it fast enough to make this worth it. Trout. Yeah.
But so the point, the great thing about steelhead is they're massive and it's all good meat. And
okay, here's the date. May 16th to August 31st, you can have 5.
So,
but from March 1st to May 15th, wait, you can have 2. Wait, no.
So what would you use?
September 1st to February 28th, 2. And then March 1st to May 15th, still 2. I don't know why they have that in. That's weird.
I think.
But May 16th to August 31st, you can have 5.
So what would you use on a boat for that?
People they troll spoons. Not the kind of spoons.
I know what you're talking about. That just seems so boring.
It's really lame. I don't
like that.
We used to do that for walleye out there.
I mean, it's nice to catch it, but like
it's not. It's so lame.
It just takes the sport out of it.
It is lame.
You're just driving around in circles hoping.
I've never trolled for steelhead, but when you troll for walleye, honestly, like you're looking at your rods and you don't even really know if there's a fish on them. You just kind of think because the whole time they're bouncing, and then like you pull up on it and you're like, Still don't know. And you just like start reeling it. And if it feels like you're dragging a wet rag, that's a walleye.
Yeah.
It doesn't even fight.
Yeah. I think I'm more,
I hate trolling.
That's the one thing. It's like, but I understand what you're saying, not wanting to go on these electric only lakes as much because of the hassle.
It's a hassle, and
there's some of the best like panfish and bass fishing lakes
you're
are
going
these
to be
reservoirs.
surprised at what we can find.
Yeah, maybe
When the whole lake is open to you.
But there's
with all the electronics
out by Portage Lakes. So by my house, it's like it's a reservoir that's not connected to the main lakes, and it's called Nemesilla, and it's a record. Like this is where it's like a destination spot for crappie and bass. And I've never been able to get far on my kayak with that. I have my 4 spots that I go to, and I've never had much success there. And one of the things I thought, okay, well, if Sean gets this boat, now we can go all around and see the whole thing. I think so.
Yeah.
So you'd use the trolling motor.
That's tough because you got to really look when you're on a bass boat. You got to watch that battery if you're using.
Yeah.
it.
Oh man. Yeah.
You don't want to use the oar.
Yeah. No, you don't. That would be horrible.
So I mean, the battery life should be like a couple days because it's a 24 volt system. It runs off 2 12-volt batteries.
Yeah.
So,
but something worth trying out at least once. But Portage Lakes, me and David would always do that. On his parents have they still have it. They have a pontoon boat that they dock on Portage Lakes, and we would go out and fish on that. But it's an overfished area.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not the best to navigate. People are terrible, like out there.
that's how West Branch kind of is. Like just from our experience on kayaks,
I don't
like
understand.
past the wake zone.
And maybe I hope none of our listeners are, but it just like a couple years ago, a bass boat ran over a kayaker on purpose.
Oh wow!
And like went to jail. Like they lost their boat and everything. Yeah. They ran over, and it was an elderly person on the kayak, all because this entitled feeling. Well, this is my lake. This is my spot.
Yeah,
get out of my way. And I'm that culture,
I'll be able to relate.
Zero interest.
No, yeah.
And being around people like that.
I understand the frustration from kayakers because I was a kayak fisherman, right? So when a bass boat pulls into your cove, and they fish the whole thing in 10 minutes and they're out of there, But then I understand their frustration, and I'll be able to relate, and try to
be more
keep peace
kind
in the water,
It's just never that serious to run someone over.
No.
Like that happened on Portage Lakes.
That's crazy.
And I'm like,
I mean,
they went to jail.
There's
they lost
times
their things over it.
There's times that people are out there in tournaments that you probably don't want to get in their way, but I can't see anybody doing that.
I'm assuming there was alcohol involved.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't think that's something anyone in their right mind would do.
Yeah.
But it was still like, ugh.
And you can see over the bow of a bass boat when you're on a plane.
No, it was intentional. So, he did it. He sped up to do it. Like, it just doesn't make.
So when I first got my boater's it's like a certificate. It's like a boater's license or whatever. Mm-hmm. This was like 2008 sorry, I lived in West Virginia then. 2011 or so. Mm-hmm. My father-in-law, I wanted to use his boat, right? And so he made me go get my boater's license, and he'd let me use his boat whenever. So I'm not like a total noob to boats. So when you come out fishing, you don't have to be scared.
Oh, hey man,
there's a lot of it's kind of dangerous. Like if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, me and David were doing it on the pontoon on Portage Lakes
without a license.
Like we were just. Well, I think
I don't know if it's a requirement.
Not. I don't. Back then,
maybe
it was
on
not.
Lake Erie it is.
Back then, it was not. I know that we were fine.
Yeah.
I think that recently changed though, and he had to get his deal.
Yeah.
But no, dude, we were teenagers
when I first started going out on Lake Erie. That's the only place I've ever.
Yeah.
Well, I ran in at Mosquito Lake before, but my father-in-law had a Deep V Sea Nymph 17-footer, and when that thing's on plane, it doesn't get on plane. I don't know what the heck's wrong with it, but it was like ride like this the whole time, even like with the motor trim. Like you could not get it to cut
speeding.
You couldn't get it down.
Yeah.
Right. So you had to stand up to drive it because you couldn't see over the bow. And so I'm excited for the bass boat.
So what species are you most excited for right now?
Right now, bass, because
Really?
I'm like, no, because I'm so into like DC fishing and Jacob Wheeler, like all these MLF guys that are on YouTube, and just I've been watching them so much, and I've been following the Bassmaster Classic is coming up this month, like next week, I think. Like, so that's getting ready to happen. Like, that's like the Super Bowl of bass fishing, right? So it's like, it's the season now, like, and I'm into it kind of because all the bass boat stuff. And
I put these two in the same category, but crappie and bass, like those are the two things that I'm like, let's go. Like, I want to go get more than 2 steelhead this year, you know, but I really would love to go get on a school of crappie.
Yeah.
Crappie. I would love to do like
with minnows.
Yeah.
Do you use minnows?
I have.
I probably will.
I have.
No, I won't actually.
I prefer
I'm gonna use jigs.
I prefer the Berkeley Power.
I'm gonna try Steely D's steelhead jigs.
I think it'll work, man. I've caught them on tiny little Cleos too. So.
On forward-facing sonar. I think those.
I think that's the key. Is just we're gonna know where they're at.
Yeah, just like drop it right on their head.
So that's cool. That's exciting. But 9 inches is not a big fish. So like,
what's
30?
What, do we have the?
I know this
the
one.
size of crappie.
It's 9 inches, and it's the bag limit's 30. Anywhere that we would go.
Black and white crappie daily limit 30. Minimum size none. Oh
yeah. So
unified Ohio and Kentucky.
So that's the tricky part, because I was talking to David the other day. I'm like,
weird.
Dude, I think I've been poaching crappie my whole life, and he goes, no, like it does change.
Oh,
like,
is it? So this must be like when you're on the border of Ohio and Kentucky. So there's a different regulations.
So some places there's no size limit and it's 30 a day. And some places there's 9 inches and it's 30 a day.
Oh, wow.
So you got to really look where you're fishing. But I wouldn't keep a 5-inch crappie anyway. I want one that's going to be worth filleting.
Yeah. So 9 inches is really
that's what you want.
I've heard like John Godwin, like on the Duck Call Room.
Yeah.
He's like a guide down there.
Yeah, that'd be sweet to fish.
On what's that lake that they fish? Anyway, I heard them saying like they wouldn't keep a 9-incher anyways.
Too small.
Yeah.
Well, because you want slabs, man.
Yeah, different lakes have different regulations. Paima Tuning Lake is 20 at 9 inches.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if it's 30 a day in Mogador and you catch your 30 in Mogador, can you go to another lake and catch another 30?
Yeah.
In the same day and be legal?
So. I believe so, because it's not like, well, I don't know. I can't say this. So don't take this as legal advice, but I think it's different than wildlife regulations, because that population moves from state to state, you know, like, but fish are stuck in that body of water unless there's a way out, you know?
I don't know.
I think it's based on lakes and rivers or whatever.
So there's a story of crappie specifically. This was going around in Texas. I have my Texas Lightning energy drink, so fitting to talk about Texas crappie. But he's a Texas fisherman. He landed a 4.3 pound crappie on Lake Fork.
How big is that?
4 pounds?
Is that big?
That's humongous.
I mean, I've caught crappie, but I've never like looked at them. Like,
bro,
I've never fished for them on purpose.
It's a record, I think. It was massive.
Yeah.
They don't normally grow that big at all. And it's almost unheard of. And people were debating whether it was a fluke or if this was like some kind of thing that happened specifically in that lake that made the crappie grow bigger. But it made me seeing this story made me really excited. It happened at Lake Fork. Yeah, that might be it. But 5 pound crappie.
Wow.
Is a giant. It's
4 pounds, 8 ounce
tank, dude. So humongous.
This is bigger than 4.3.
Look at that thing.
4 pound, 8 ounce.
That's humongous.
It's almost 18 inches long. We've caught steelhead 18 inches long.
Catching one for perspective, catching one that size is
this is it, 4.3 pounds. Yeah.
Is that's like catching 30 at Mogador at 9 inches. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Like the meat that you would get off of that. So that's what I dream of. If we can find those guys.
We can find them on forward facing sonar.
I would be stoked. Those are that would be next level for me. Like bringing home one of those.
Yeah.
Would be so cool. But it made me really get the itch to get out on the kayak.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have this boat and it's exciting.
Yeah, man.
Because one of my favorite
There's a new. They dropped a new fishing attractor. You know what fishing attractors are? They drop trees and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in Mogador, they just put a new fishing
helicopter.
attractor in. Yeah.
I'm tracking with you. We're gonna have a whole episode on this with our friend David.
No, I think they're pulling it out today.
But still, over the weekend, a helicopter.
Not over the week. This was yesterday. Friday, March 14th.
Yeah, I consider Friday the weekend. That's a debate, though.
Good morning, by the way, because this is Friday morning. I wanted to say that when I was listening.
I'm confused.
I listened to our podcast on Friday morning.
Oh, yeah.
I got re-listen.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time that you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. If you're coming back, if you're in 2026 right now and you're binge watching this episode,
let us know.
We love you, and we're glad you came back.
If this is 2026 and you're listening to this, DM us on Instagram
and we'll send you some merch.
And say, let's see, Crappie rocks. Just say Crappie rocks, and maybe we'll send you something.
Yeah, be sweet.
But it has to be 2026.
Yeah. So future.
Sorry, I cut you off. Do you even remember what you're saying?
Future use problem. Let's see. What was I saying? No.
Mogador?
So over yesterday, driving to work. Well, no, I was at work when I got the text, or when I saw it and I texted you guys.
Yeah.
It was around 7:00 in the morning. So on my train, so I start my day by opening the daycare preschool, and I'm usually in the parking lot really early, probably around 6:30, 6:00, because that's where I do my devotion, prepare for my day, and then I go in and open the place up. And on my way to go to my day job up at the school as a teacher, I look at my phone and I see that a helicopter had crashed into Mogador Reservoir. And I sent the text to you guys.
I really wish David was here right now.
Well, we're going to do it.
I don't want to talk too much about it.
We're not going to talk too much about it. But if you go back to episode 9, this helicopter crashed right in the area where me and David were camping.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk more about this another episode, but they are removing that. It's not going to be it's not going to be structure, and that would be probably terrible for the fish that I want to eat.
Hey, so I just have a question for the DNR. So I know you guys listen because you hear Charlie talking about taking too many fish all the time.
No. I got letters. I'm just kidding.
So are they going to let us have gas engines in Mogador now, since there's a bunch of diesel and oil in the lake? And they said on the press conference, this lake does not feed any freshwater supplies.
I know that, but I don't want poison.
Why in the world
do they not
let engines on the lake?
I'm not with you on this, though. I'm not with you. First of all, these reservoirs, they're not lakes, they're reservoirs.
I'm from West Virginia. Everything's a lake.
But these reservoirs aren't meant for big bass boats to fly through.
Yeah,
they're meant for...
Put a horsepower restriction on it.
I think
that's what most places do.
Just pull your prop up and use your trolling motor.
Dude.
Like your updated trolling motor. Have an extra battery and do it the right way.
I have an extra battery.
Because
I want to run 40 miles an hour across Mogador.
The reason is, this is part of the reason, and correct me if I'm wrong. Pete, if you're listening, you probably know this, but I think the reason is there's a mussel, like a clam or a mollusk. I think it's a zebra mussel, some kind of thing that you can pick up on your boat from Lake Erie or from other bodies of water, and they're invasive.
Interesting, because this is a worldwide problem, and there's regulations for this.
If you come from those lakes and come into our nice little reservoirs, you're introducing problems.
Do you know there's a regulation to prevent all of this with boat owners? Like, you're supposed to wash your boat after pulling out of one lake to go to another lake.
But how many dummies don't?
Who cares?
That's the point. That's the point. Regulation. My point is, I
want to see gobies in Mogador.
No, because I want this to stay one of the best crappie spots in Ohio. The Amish flood in to go to Mogador to catch crappie.
Yeah.
And
their
there used
boats,
to be
and their Nitro Z21s.
And it's frustrating. And then you're going to come in and decimate my stomping ground, you know? So just do the right thing and pull up your prop and use your trolling motor.
Hey, if a helicopter can park in there,
I don't.
Hey, you can't park there.
No, and no. My thing is,
our thoughts and prayers go out with the family. We're just
it's
joking.
very sad.
It's not.
It really
it's
is.
not funny.
We don't know enough about it, and it's very sad. And we pray for our community and for the loss of that family member. That's very sad. But that's a whole nother episode. But my point is that
that will be the next episode where we need that music or that.
There it is. My point is that I really hope that doesn't mess up our fish in that reservoir, because
no, they had it. You can see like on when the Fox News helicopter's flying around, they already had the oil soak or whatever those things are pulled out across.
Yeah, I guess the moral of the story
So it was contained.
is you never know what's in the water, but unless you have forward-facing sonar.
By the way, I am a licensed hazardous waste first responder. By the way, in case nobody knew that.
I didn't know that.
So
Hey,
I work at a hazardous waste facility. I have to be.
Any other
trained to do that.
information? Like,
So, no.
he'll casually we'll be in a conversation and be like, I'm actually, I'm a highway state patrolman.
No,
I'm like,
I'm not.
What?
I never said
No,
that.
I'm just saying, like, he'll come up with these things and I'm like, first I'm hearing.
No, so I am a licensed first responder for hazardous waste because I work at a hazardous waste treatment facility. And so the way they've got Mogador already
taken care of.
It was done before they pulled the body out.
Yeah.
So they took care of that pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. That's crazy because I've caught fish where that is.
Yeah.
And it's surreal.
I've never been back there.
Surreal, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Can't hear you.
I know, I'm back. Stretching. But you never know what's in the water, whether it's I hope we can get on some 5-pound crappie or 4-pound crappie.
We'll be able to see them. Whether they bite or not, it's up to them.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in and swim after it,
I've been looking. I mean, it's going to be a little different than the videos I've been watching. Because I've been watching like live scope and active target videos and the way they move. And so they're like basically trolling through these areas with their forward facing sonar, just scanning for fish. Then they'll find them and sit on them and whatever. So with mine, it's going to be just a smaller view or window of view. So thank you, Siri.
Hey, Siri, you're not invited.
It's going to be a little bit like, it's not going to be as easy. It's not easy to learn anyways, but it's not going to be as easy as the full live scope active imaging, but we'll be able to find them.
So what you're
I'll get it figured out.
What you're saying is my freezer is going to be full of fish this year.
Probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, probably.
Kendall will be happy.
Also, my family is super stoked for it too.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm not. Yeah. You don't need to take me every time. I'm just kidding. That's exciting.
I mean, I want to have a competition. You and Justin on your kayaks.
Oh, we're not alone. Chase is out there, my brother.
Oh yeah, we've got a little tournament going was it for the whole summer?
I think so. We'll have to relook at
longest fish. He's probably already got us beat. So
yeah, he's probably already on fish.
We're still stuck in Steelhead.
Still landlocked. So. But no, we're excited for
the hard water just turned soft. So
I'm kind of on both sides of this though, huh?
Yeah.
Because like I'll be fishing with you on your boat and I'll be on the kayak.
Yes, I want to go out and have a little competition, kayak versus boat. No, actually, so I will have extra electronics if you want to buy them. It's a Lowrance Hook Reveal 5.
So
is what I'm going to have 2 of them to sell.
Here's what I'm excited about.
So if you want to,
no, because mine's
fish finder.
I have a Lifetime Tamarack
5-inch screen.
It's just my it's my floater. Like it's not a.
It doesn't matter. You help you find fish.
It'll cost more than the boat did. Like the kayak.
No.
So I'm saying like
$200.
That's how much my kayak costs. That's stupid to put that on there.
And then you need to buy a battery.
I'll just use my lawnmower battery.
Yeah.
I got an extra one. No, I'm kidding.
If anybody wants to buy a Lowrance Hook Reveal 5, I've got 2 of them for sale here in the next couple weeks.
Maybe Chase take you up on that. But no, Chase, we're excited.
$200
to fish this season, man. It's gonna be fun. But it's cool because one thing that's new to me is like what was so great about the fall and the winter is the steelhead.
Yeah.
My whole life before upgrades, fishing was only something you did in the summer, or only something you did every once in a while. But I'm learning as I get older, meet new people, do new things, that it's a year-round deal.
Yeah.
You know,
you can fish all year.
You can fish all year, and it's exciting.
Except for when that water's hard. I ain't fishing then.
But there's something exciting about the spring because it's new. Yeah. You know, it feels like refreshing. It's a season of
seasonal
newness.
Depression is falling off.
Praise God. I'm not diagnosed, but and I'm going to normalize talking about it. Like, it's a thing, man. Like when you're locked in your basement, not in the basement, in this dungeon.
You're locked in the basement?
When I'm not locked in, blink 6 times. No, when you're just, especially here in Ohio, the winters are tough. We have the most gray skies, I think, around. We don't get enough sunlight, and it affects your body, it affects your mind, it affects you. And so spring is so special because it's like a breath of fresh air, and it's newness, you know. It's like this new thing, and so I'm glad for it. I'm glad for this renewal time.
Yeah.
And the Bible kind of talks, we should probably talk about the Bible. It talks about this, you know.
We should probably talk about the Lord.
Yeah. It talks it talks of new beginnings, and it talks of fresh starts and renewal. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, and the new is here. And springtime summertime doesn't make me think of that. I think of fun when I think of summer.
Yeah.
But when I think of spring, I think of a new life and new opportunity and a fresh start. No matter what season of life you're in, God offers this cool thing, and it's like like you can have a new start any season, any day. You can start something new. Like Sean, you maybe we'll talk about this in a minute, but you started your fitness journey, restarted your fitness journey, fitness journey,
as my Trenton would say.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna get blasted for that.
No. Please destroy him.
My son is 11. I'm allowed to do that to make fun of, or not make fun of him, but to make him like embarrassed.
Yeah.
My dad did that. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating.
We did. Me and Hillary have started because her classroom is the older class, and the brain rot is so bad that we started parroting it and making it so uncomfortable for them that they don't think it's cool anymore and they won't do it.
That's funny.
But 2 Corinthians 5:17 talks about new creation, old things going and new things are here. And so you can do that. And we talked about this with Fred. You can start anytime. You started this fitness journey and you're down 20 pounds, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I want to say, we have our friend Fred who can bench press 315 pounds, probably 800. But he's got 3 plates and just repping it, and he's 44.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's vegan.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to say, for anybody that's starting out, I'm 6'2". I was 240 when I started. I'm like 225, 220 now. But it's been 10 plus years since I've worked out, and I got so out of shape that I started bench pressing. And I'll be honest and vulnerable with everybody listening, I was only benching 95 pounds, dude. Mm-hmm. And that's just where I started. And having a friend like Fred benching 315, that's really embarrassing, right? For me, it was. But he encouraged me in like, man, bro, you got to start somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that encouraged me, and just staying consistent 5 days a week in the gym. And not that I'm perfect at that, because I like to skip cardio day.
You and everybody else, brother.
But now I'm repping 135 in just 4 weeks.
Awesome, man.
You know, 4 weeks to go from 95 to 135.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, so
one of the biggest
just stay
traps,
consistent. That's all it is.
This is
start where you start.
This is not part of our Bible talk, but and that's okay. But one of the biggest traps, because I got there too, before our miscarriage, I was now this was on a Smith machine, but I got the 2 plates on the bar.
Oh wow!
And
225,
bro. No, just the 2 45-pound plates.
Oh, 135.
Math is hard.
Yeah. 135.
And then plus whatever the bar weighs.
45.
Right. So
total of 135 pounds is 2 plates.
I got further than that, I think. I know I didn't hit 200. I think at one point, I text Fred, maybe I can look through the text. At one point I did 200.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's never happened before. Like I've never even come close.
I did that in high school.
Yeah.
That's
right.
It. 205 or something.
I remember
like that.
squatting 317 in high school.
That's crazy too.
But I was a tiny guy, so it was unreal. Like,
well, you're a wrestler though.
Yeah.
That's all
like,
you guys did.
Well,
The life of a wrestler is sweat and work.
I remember adding more weight to the 200.
Yeah.
And my shoulder started to hurt. And I went, this is an ego thing. Like, why do I care about some weight? This isn't functional fitness. This isn't anything. Like, what am I doing? Like, so it isn't about that. It's about bettering your body, like prolonging your health, right? Like that's what it's about. And so to echo that, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
But man, somebody who just runs a mile every day is going to outlive somebody who's benching 600 pounds. You know what I mean? It's not always about the ego lifts. Mm-hmm. And so while you should strive for progressive overload and get better at it, like the important thing is you've been consistent in what you're doing and you're seeing results.
Yeah. And I think so I was really down on myself this week because for 2 weeks in a row, so I'm doing like a 2 weeks or a week split where I'm not like targeting shoulder and back together. Like I'm just doing upper day 1, upper day 2, lower day 1, lower day 2, and splitting it through the week. And 2 weeks in a row now, I've missed the Friday lower day just because Friday I work out at 4 a.m. and Friday comes around and I'm just done. And so I'm learning now, like, it's not real for me. It's not trying to get stronger. It's just, I want to have a lifestyle of being healthier.
Yeah.
And not being out of breath when I'm talking on a podcast.
Well, here's the deal.
That's it. I'm not trying to be like the Hulk.
This is not like religion, right? Like this isn't like biblical truths.
Yeah.
You know, there are, there's one way to heaven, right? We know that the Bible declares that. It's only through Jesus, right? And so that's not the case with fitness. There are many ways to a healthy life.
Yeah.
And, for me, I'm not gonna discourage whatever path you're trying to choose and be on. But 5 days a week is a lot.
Yeah.
That's what professionals do. Like you don't need, in my opinion, you don't need to do that to accomplish your goal of healthy living.
So,
but I know
that's not
your
my
lifestyle.
Goal. Yeah. So my goal is when I get to work, I don't want to be tired and lazy.
You need to get in that cold plunge.
So what I've found to work for me now, I'm like 5 weeks in, right, is getting up, going to the gym, forcing myself up. That's what time I'd wake up for work anyways. I'm just pushing my start time at work later. But getting up, starting working out, coming home, taking a shower, eating a good breakfast, and then going to work, I feel so fresh. And like that drive to work is an hour. That's usually my devotion time, my prayer time. And I'm so awake for that now that's what I look forward to.
You know what a good piece of advice is, especially on those cardio days that you're skipping? Do your Bible reading while you're on the treadmill or on the bike or on the stair climber.
I'm running.
Listen.
I'm not just walking.
No, I'm saying listen to the devotional and then your drive can just be straight prayer.
Yeah.
And it'll take the edge off of thinking about that's 1 calorie, that's 1 mile.
No, I don't think that. I do. I'm just I need to do
what I got to do.
10-minute sessions, 10 minutes of walking, 5 minutes running, 10 minutes of walking, 5 minutes running.
But it'll make that process better and easier from experience.
I just watch Cops.
That's hilarious. Because I was one. No,
I was not one. I was, all right, to be clear, I was an auxiliary police officer for Elyria Police Department in Lorain County, Ohio. An auxiliary police officer. That's the guys that stood out in front of our church and direct traffic.
They're cops.
I was that. No, they are not commissioned police officers. They have no arrest powers. They don't carry guns. But I was training for the highway patrol, and I was in the application process, and I was going to take some tests and whatever, polygraph, whatever, all that stuff. But I got married instead. So that to be clear, I was never an actual commissioned police officer. I was just, that's always been my goal. When I turned 18, the very first job I applied for was the Parkersburg Police Department. So I've always wanted to do that, and it just never worked out. So.
Well, what I'm saying is,
I just wanted to clarify that.
You're just full of surprises.
Because that's a felony to say that.
Stolen valor.
No, that's
no. He's not a
total felony.
He's not a police officer. He never was.
I never said that.
Didn't say that. No, it's just my point is you're full of surprises. Like,
yeah, or I am a hazardous waste first responder.
Yeah. What? Like. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Actually, that train that derailed, I forget what town that was.
Oh, you're talking about
a couple years ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah. Painesville? No, what? Why is that blank?
I don't know. Anyways.
No, it's important.
That train that derailed over there, my company cleaned that up and we burned it. So that was us.
Yeah.
Caleb Taylor was actually one of the first people that put hands on that.
East Palestine. Gosh, that was bothering me.
There it is.
That bothered me. I wasn't about to let that go. We got to be right. Yeah, no, that was a major catastrophe and nothing was done. We're not going to get political, but
it wasn't hazardous. As a hazardous first responder, I will say the material that we got in, we have there's rules handling hazardous waste, and our PPE requirements for that hazardous waste was literally just gloves.
But there
was nothing dangerous in that.
That's not the point. The point is that it was very bad for the water.
It wasn't. That's what I'm saying.
For the fish, no.
It wasn't.
I don't believe that.
It wasn't. We treated it. We have all the
details. But you're also coming from the perspective. We're not going to get in a debate on this. But
I will say, that's my job is hazardous waste. I don't agree. Hazardous waste is my job. There was nothing dangerous about that chemical.
I don't believe that.
There was nothing dangerous about it.
You know, the same mindset says there's nothing dangerous with Doritos. There's nothing dangerous with McDonald's. There's nothing dangerous with the chemicals that they're putting everywhere. There's nothing that will kill you today.
Caleb Taylor, comment on this because you touched it with your bare hands.
That's not the point. My point, I used to work in a chemical factory and I would deal with all sorts of different things. Maybe you didn't know that.
Chemical factory.
I
used to work in one of those too.
What I'm saying is touching
this is EPA
methyl
regulated
ketone 1 time or 10 times or for a year. If I'm touching that for a year, no big deal. But if I spread that over 40 years, I'm gonna die of cancer. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
yeah, right. We're both saying we're both correct. But the long-term environmental impact is what I was referring to. This is way off my notes. But anyways, my point is, I don't know what my point is on that.
That's hilarious. We just derailed.
Yeah,
like
we
that
did.
Train.
That train derailed this episode. But, man, whether we're fishing, though, or it's in our faith, or it's just life in general, sometimes all we need is a fresh start, right? And that train derailment and this helicopter crash, there was a cleanup process involved, right? Yeah. Like whether it was poison and immediate death, see your death if you touch this, it was not that. But what I'm saying is that it needed cleaned up. And with spring, I talked about it a little bit ago. I cleaned up so much of my yard just from the effects of winter. And I found a lot of unevenness in my yard from the groundhogs and the moles and stuff that I'm going to have to deal with this year. But it comes up with a little bit of cleanup. And so though it's okay that you don't have to, even in fitness, you don't have to start in spring or on New Year's. You don't have to start on a specific day or timeline. The important thing is you just start.
Yeah.
So whether it's in your faith, if you, man, I know people who have a deep relationship with God, and I know people who just have an open mind about God, and I know people who don't believe in God at all. But everybody knows the season we're in. The Lord is coming soon.
Yeah.
And Brother Corey Boyd preached about it last night at our rally. The Lord is coming soon, and we have to be ready. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you start. You just need to start now. Or it doesn't matter what you've done up to this point and how many times you've started and failed. You need to start a relationship with God. And so we hope we can help you navigate that in just some way. And if you're new in your walk with God, we hope this is like, our podcast is meant to be a breath of fresh air and something lighthearted and fun. Yeah. But today is the season. Today is the season. This is the season for new life, and God is offering that for us. And spring is just a reminder of that. Old things have passed away, new things are in. You can become a new person, a new creation, whether that's faith in your fitness goals or in fishing. All we need sometimes is just a fresh start, and that's what spring is, and that's what I'm so excited about, because God makes all things new.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome. Okay. And we're super excited about that. We're not going to do overrated, underrated this episode. We're just going to probably close it on that. But final thoughts, Sean, got any final thoughts for this episode, whether it's faith fishing
thoughts
or what we just talked about?
Oh man.
Last cast.
The last cast. Final thoughts. I don't know, man. I'm really excited for spring. Mm-hmm. It is just a fresh, reboot. I really enjoy just that when the sun starts shining, just cleaning out the garage, going through stuff, and then getting out. But it is definitely there's a realness to the mental health side of it that gets overlooked, and I've got some personal stories with that, but that I won't share. But mental health's a real thing, and it's really important to let that seasonal depression get off of it. So this spring is like a fresh start and new beginnings to the year, and just in faith, just looking forward to a great summer. And I don't really have any final thoughts.
Yeah, I guess we covered a lot today, from giant crappie to the new boat.
This was more of a just hang out and talk kind of episode.
We did. We talked a lot.
If you guys want to hear more of that or more of lessons, let us know.
Yeah. And spring, but just remember, I guess my last cast is spring is proof that new beginnings are possible.
Yeah.
And God is always ready to bring that to your life. And whether it's winter, spring, summer, fall, he offers new life. And so we encourage you to just start. That's the final cast. Just start. Yeah. Get out there, enjoy this new season, start fishing, keep praying, keep moving forward with your fitness and your faith and your fishing goals, and watch as God transforms your life into what he wants it to be.
Yeah.
And so that's our biggest push for this episode is that. So we want you also to remember to engage with us on social media. We're doing a giveaway right now.
Hey, we've got 7 people.
And there's only 9 people who have done 9. There's 9 people who have done all of the things, and there are 1,700 of you on our social media.
It's pretty embarrassing. You guys are letting us down.
Yeah, we're kind of, we need encouraged. We're trying to give free things to you. So if you want in on this, get in on this while you can. This is going to end March 31st. We're doing a First Form giveaway. That's our sponsor, First Form. And we're giving away.
Oh, it's here with us.
Ignition. This is.
Tell us what it is.
This is a pre-workout. It's Ignition carbohydrate vitamin drink mix. So this covers a lot of different things. You want to take this pre-workout. You could take it post-workout. You could mix this with your already pre-workout that you go to, and it's going to enhance that. And this is going to give you the energy you need to get through those hard workouts.
You got the greens over there?
And we also have Optimum Greens 50. OptiGreens 50. And this is something that I have taken. And if you're like me, sometimes you struggle. And this is not an ad read. This is just me saying, if you're like Sean, you don't eat anything green at all.
No.
And so you need something like this to get your basic, your greens and your nutrition.
Yeah.
And so we're giving away both of these things. These are both.
That's worth how much, Charlie?
This is worth $100.
Isn't that crazy, guys?
So
that's $100. We're giving on the table.
We're giving away $100 to somebody who likes and subscribes to our social media platforms.
Chocolate flavor.
So if you want in on this,
it's chocolate greens, bro.
Yeah. I mean, how can you make it taste any better than just making it chocolate flavored? So this is for you. And so we want to give back to the community that we're building. And so all you have to do is subscribe on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify,
wherever you listen,
and on Instagram and Facebook. And all you have to do on that Instagram post is comment casting faith.
That's probably the key for letting us know that you're done.
Yes.
Is commenting casting faith.
And
Just the word casting
yeah.
faith. 2 words.
And if
You
you
don't
want,
have, there's no trick to it. You don't have to put quotations casting faith
Yeah.
to this comment.
No. We're we'll see
Just
it.
Casting faith. That's it.
It's all linked. And this is going to be randomly chosen through a generator that we plug this into. And so this is not us picking our favorite guest or our favorite person who does this. It's going to be randomly decided. And here's the thing. If you want right now, we're happy to give this away, even if it's to one of you 9 faithful, community builders here, right?
Yeah. Or technically, the Miller House has 2 entries.
Right. So they got a high chance here. But if you want to seal the deal, what will give you an edge over this competition is if you buy something through our link at firstform/castingfaith. And so the link is in our bio. The link is in our link tree on Instagram. If you buy something through there,
we will be notified.
We will know, and you will probably win this competition.
Well,
just saying. That's a high likelihood, or it'll give you another entry for the competition. And so that's how it's set up. And so we want to make sure that you guys take advantage of this. And,
let's say if you buy through the link, it's another entry.
Yeah, that's what it is in the socials.
There.
It's a bonus point.
Oh, okay.
So somebody didn't read
a second entry.
You roasted me yesterday for not reading our text conversation. You read the rules of the giveaway.
I'm not in their giveaway.
It's all right.
You're the only one that entered in the giveaway.
Well, somebody had to start commenting. Anyways, we want to give it to you. We want to give you this. So get involved. This is only going to be around for like 14 more days. And so we want you to be involved in this. Cool. And so on top of that, like, subscribe, comment, engage, share this video, share this with your friends, somebody who you think will enjoy this podcast. But until next time, keep casting faith in your everyday life.
We'll see y'all.
Like, comment, and subscribe.